Many clients benefit from knowing what they can expect after sessions, and I want to be very thorough in my explanation, so maybe listen to some of this and come back and listen to more of it later. See, there's good, really good, and then there's sort of uncomfortable. So let's start with the uncomfortable. And wait till the end of this video, and be sure to see the good stuff too. On the day of your session, please drink a lot of water. Stay hydrated, and please don't plan anything important after your session, because many report feeling groggy or unable to focus. This is kind of like new neural pathways being developed. It's the old way out and the new way in, so you might feel a little unfocused. One of my 20-something clients calls it the Karin buzz. She says it's better than a few glasses of wine. Don't know about that, but it is sort of a light-headedness. And actually most people are tired after a session, but it's a peaceful tired because it's like holding on to something so tightly for so long and then finally unclenching that fist. You realize that, well, holding on to that for so long was really a lot of work. So when you let it go, whew, you're a bit tired. Now, some folks even get a bit sick, like if you've ever done a detox, things like sniffles or feeling achy or light cold symptoms, you know, same as a detox, because, well, you're detoxing. And try not to think about the session too much until you've slept on it. What we don't want is all those bad ways of dealing with things being forced back into play. Now, sure, these methods can clear things, and often do permanently, but you are human and you are in control, and you can work to bring it all back if you want. So don't. Well, at least try not to, okay? Just sleep on it. And thank goodness it's usually difficult to bring it back, so why try? Just wait until the next day, and then you can try all you want. Now, don't be surprised if you find yourself not caring as much. Now, that might seem like a bad thing, but if you think about it, if you are always caring too much, you worry. You wonder what someone really meant with what they just said to you. You get upset at your spouse. You are reacting to everything. And then, after a session, suddenly, you don't. Even if it's just a little bit less reacting, you may think, I don't care as much. No, you do care. You just aren't being triggered. This is a good thing. It only feels like you're not caring. It's actually the absence of being triggered. How great is that? Now, it just might be new to you. So this is why I want you to expect it. I want you to embrace it. Be happy about it if you can, because this is what normal feels like. One client was an agoraphobic. That's people who are afraid to go outside. But she could go outside, she just couldn't leave her town. She could leave her house, but not her town. So after the session, she could cross the bridge out of her town. She could go to the malls now, much more, restaurants outside of her town. But after a couple days of this freedom, she actually became terrified that she was now numb, that she couldn't feel as much as she used to. Well, it's not that. She wasn't numb. This is what normal feels like. So I asked her, if her son announced his engagement, would she be happy? And she, of course, said yes, of course. And if something bad happened to a family member, would she be sad? And she said yes, of course. See, this is what normal feels like. You still have emotions. They just aren't like this anymore. They're more like this. Or more like this. And the more we work, the more they get like this. Until something bigger, bad or good, happens. And she was thrilled with this news because she was really feeling numb. So I want you to understand that that could happen. Also, you may feel irritated or impatient with people. It doesn't necessarily mean a lot. It could mean just a little bit irritated with things that usually don't irritate you. And see, you've been dealing with certain people who may suck the life out of you, or that you wait on all the time, or that they always seem to dump on you all their problems on you. And you may think that's called friendship in the past, or love or companionship, but as you clear these things, you may start to be less patient with these people who dump on you. Little things may irritate you. It's the same things you've dealt with fine in your life, and now they might start pissing you off a bit. This is normal too. It will pass. See, you've been putting up with all this for how long? And you think, well, when is it my turn anyway? Now, okay, I need to let you know they haven't changed. You have. You've let them relate with you in the same way for a very long time. So whose fault is it really? Nobody's. Be patient with yourself and them. Give yourself time to adjust your relationships with those close to you. Nobody is really using anybody. And if by chance they are, the change will come without you forcing it, because you are changing. Also, your healing will be faster if you can use EFT, tap-alongs, things like that between sessions for things like this. I'm irritated, I'm irritated, I'm irritated. Why am I irritated? The same person doing the same thing, and I deserve, and all that stuff. If you can tap on these things, use tap-alongs. I have a lot of videos on YouTube. Or just use I have a site called EFT Words. You can just put your feeling in there, hit submit, and you get 5 rounds of tapping. So, now the good news. Thanks for waiting. Lots of good things. Clients describe when they leave a weight being lifted off their shoulders, off their body, off their chest. Even if they can't put a finger on it of what it is, they just feel lighter. Many, 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 many experience hope. Now, that may sound small, but often our problems seem impossible to solve. So many feel that they've tried everything and they still feel the burden of their problem. So when things start to shift, even if it isn't just in like one session poof, most people will feel hope because things can change. And by the way, let me tell you, most issues are like a pile of spaghetti being unraveled. So most issues are not cleared in one session. Phobias, yeah, often one session. Things like lack of motivation, depression, persistent anxiety, not so much. A few more spaghettis. And it may not be the in-your-face kind of change. Like I had a client who had anger issues, and he would throw things into the sink, he would slam doors, he would, slam the refrigerator. He was young, so he lived in a bunch of, in a house with a bunch of kids, well, 20-somethings, and he just was like, everything made him angry. Everything made him angry. And he came to me because one of his roommates were coming to me, and they said, you should go because it might help you feel better. So he came to me. He was on his 3rd session, and when he called me before the 3rd session, and he said, I'm going to cancel our appointment. And I said, why? He said, because it's not working. I said, it's not working? He said, no, nothing's changing. I'm not any less angry. I don't feel any different. I said, you might want to ask your roommates. He said, why? I said, because all of them have made appointments with me. Because, see, he had changed. He didn't know it because it felt so natural. He had stopped slamming the cabinet doors. He had stopped slamming the dishes and breaking them. He had stopped banging the door closed, the refrigerator door closed. He had stopped stomping around the house. Now, he was still angry. He just wasn't manifesting as banging around as much. And they noticed it, and they said, actually, he asked me, well, why didn't they tell me? I said, they were afraid to break the magic spell. So apparently he went and talked to them, because he called me about 10 minutes later, and he said, well, a little more than that. He called me that afternoon, and he said, all right, I want our appointment because you're right. Because it feels natural. It's sort of like if you're the kind of person that loses your keys all the time, and suddenly you realize you haven't lost your keys in like 2 months, right? So you didn't realize it because it felt so natural. And the impact can be in interesting ways too. One person had a terrible sexual abuse past, and after 2 sessions, we had an evening and then in the morning, next morning, she went home and the next day went through 14,000 emails that had been piling up over the years, deleting giant chunks, answering others, but being able to get rid of those emails and go through them that she hadn't in years. Another woman started organizing things all over her house that she'd been ignoring for over a year. Now, see, the reason that happens is it takes many years for you to gather your pile of spaghetti. So you need to give it some time. Lots will change along the way as that pile of spaghetti gets sorted out. So good things and lots of feel-good things will happen.